I help MedSpa owners go through sales system, marketing strategy, operations, team training, and revenue. Today, I'm joined by Jonathan McLean from McLean Aesthetics. Jonathan is specializes in talent recruiting for the aesthetics and MedSpa industry. So he sees firsthand what clinic are looking for, what candidates are expecting, and where the disconnect happens between the owners and the staff. And this is such an important conversation because a lot of med spa owners think their biggest issue is leads, marketing, or competition, but very often the real revenue problem is inside the team. Who you hire, how you train them, how you lead the team, and whether they understand revenue can completely change the performance of the business. So today we're going to talk about talent, hiring, retention, sales, and what med spa owners need to understand if they want to build a team that actually helps the business grow. So before we jump in, Jonathan, I would love you to quickly introduce yourself. What do you do with McLean Aesthetics, and what kind of clients you usually help?
Yes, yes. Well, first, thank you, Diana, for having me on today. And yes, my name is Jonathan McLean. I am the founder of McLean Aesthetic Recruiting. And what we do is we specialize in working with dermatology, plastic surgery, and med spa clinics nationwide to staff for anything from a medical director, injector, to a front desk staff or esthetician. So everything that encompass those type of settings, we help the staff and fix your hiring process.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So tell me, Jonathan, what are you seeing right now in the med spa hiring market? Are owners struggling more to find providers, admin staff, or it's just across the board?
Yeah, no, Diana, that's a good question. I would say honestly, it's not a struggling problem. I think people can find staff if they want to. But what I want to emphasize on, the higher level med spa is the one that really want to succeed and grow and have providers such as injectors billing over $100,000 a month. Now, those are the clinics that are having trouble finding top performers. And the reason they're having trouble finding top performers is because they're not positioning themselves right and their value of what they're offering, right? So if you want top talent, it's going to be a little bit harder to find. And that's where someone like a recruiter comes in to kind of connect you both.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing. Definitely, especially when the top talent value their expertise. And from my experience also, they don't tend to jump around so much, especially if they're happy, if they build their client base, if the compensation is good for them. It has to be a very unique offer. But what I do feel like it's a lot of owners are saying, nobody wants to work. But sometimes, well, most of the time, I feel like the problem is the offer, the structure, and the expectations, both ways. What do you think is the biggest mistake med spa owners make when they hire? Is it hiring too fast or based on personality instead of performance? What is your experience with that?
Yeah, I don't think fast is a problem. You want to hire in a streamlined amount of time. You don't want to keep the candidate waiting, or else they're going to go somewhere else. I think hiring efficiently is different, though, right? Number one, it's like finding someone that's actually qualified and able to do the job. That's part of it. And then the second part is really putting them to the test right on the spot before you decide, hey, I'm going to lock you in a contract and pay you. So maybe getting them a sample model or somebody that works front desk at the clinic and just saying, hey, practice on this person. I want to see how your sales skills are or how your patient skills are or how are you would greet this person if they came in, showing you exactly what they say they're going to do. I think that's another part of it. And then I think the last part is really your gut, right? You are the owner of this business. You started it from whatever point you took it over, right? So you have to trust yourself as a business owner, that you've seen day to day how the operations work, that you can find and know when you see a good person in front of you, especially after doing the first two things to identify, hey, their technical skills are good, and they know what they're doing.
Oh, I completely agree. And I think it's also very important to have expectations as far as what do you want exactly from each role. You have to be ready when you're hiring. You need to understand what KPIs are you looking for? What is it exactly? Are you looking for a front desk who's customer service, just a friendly person, but she's not a salesperson? It's like you really have to have your list of what is the most important thing for you, and also understand that sometimes you have to invest a little bit still in the talent that you bring in, because no one is perfect and some may need just
Oh, there you go.
okay, all right, perfect. So, sorry about that. So, what do you think makes a strong MedSpa candidate today? Like, what should owners look for of beyond the experience? What are the green flags that you notice, or the red flags?
Yeah, I think, and I'm really referring, I want to say this again, to med spa owners that really are trying to take their business to the next level or do things the right way. So for those people, I want to say, when you're attracting talent, especially top talent, um, everybody's becoming a media personality, from front desk to medical director to injector to esthetician, right? And you're working in a private pay service. So if you want a serious candidate, step one is they need to have some social presence. If they don't have social presence, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not on the same level that you are expecting out of them. Step two, how are your technical skills, your reviews, your 4-star, I mean, your 5-star patient reviews? Like, what are people saying about them in the community? Like, what are their patients or the people that are seeing them every day saying about them? I think that's number two. And then, like I said, the last part is you actually experiencing it yourself in real time. And that's how you get top talent. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Yeah.
So I agree with you 100%. But for me, personally, especially with medical providers, clinical skill is not enough. It's a must have, but a provider, as you know yourself, they can be amazing clinically, but terrible at converting consultation, terrible of actually building relationship with clients. So I personally always look at communication, confidence, emotional intelligence, willingness to follow sales structure and not to be scared. And the first thing, they say like, oh, I don't want to do sales. To me, it's already a red flag. This is someone that will just come in, clock out, do the treatment, and go home. Um,
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Especially, they have to be, I think, like I said, because this industry is private pay, they have to be more than, hey, I'm just going to clock in and clock out, right? You're building a brand around themselves, right? And I think a serious person, whether it's front desk or injector that wants to join your team, they need to have had built part of their brand out before even coming aboard, right? Because that shows that they're serious about what they're doing. They have some sort of education on what they're doing, which is ultimately sales at the end of the day, and is going to make a bigger impact in your business.
Yes, conversions, that's everything. That's what actually hold the business in the long run. What questions should med spa owners ask if they're interviewing and did not hire you? Do you have any specific questions that you always recommend to ask, whether it's an injector or a front desk associate?
Yeah, I think you need to be asking very specific questions and not just, hey, what would your team members say about you in your last position. The question should be, especially if it's an injector or somebody sales generating, how much do patients spend on your report on each visit that they come and see you? How much are they spending on Botox versus how much they're spending on filler? How many times are people coming back to see you? What's your client retention rate? Those are the questions that you want to know, because those are the questions that are gonna like make your business go up, not questions that are just more so like personality question. Now you want to see the personality for sure, right? But that should come in step two after you already verified, hey, they can do the job. Hey, they can meet the standards that I need in this position. And then you bring them in and you see, hey, okay, they gel well with the team, or they match certain things that I want in a personality or I want my patients to see. But first, before any of that, verifying that they actually have the skill set is important in a way that's obtainable.
Oh, I agree. Where do you see the biggest disconnect between med spa owners and employees? Is it pay, expectation, culture, growth opportunities?
Yeah, it's definitely expectations. I think people are interviewing and they want the person because they see them with this amount of experience or something that's intriguing about the candidate. They want them to join their team so bad, they're like leaving stuff out or skipping steps or just trying to make it work, when in reality, if you take your time, and even for the candidate side too, they might want the job bad fast, but if you guys both take your time and identify, hey, do we want the same things? Are you going to, this is what I'm looking for out of employee, and they come to you and say, this is what I'm looking for out of employer, right? And everybody's very transparent. Now that's going to be a good relationship that's going to last years and years and years and years. Now, no relationship I feel like lasts forever. Very rarely you see employees stick around for 10 years, like not in this century. But if you're able to really have that transparency, you guys both say what you need from each other, I think you can last 5 years, five, maybe even 7 years.
Oh, definitely. If the expectations are aligned and the
Yeah.
compensation is matching, people stay even longer than that. But I feel like a lot of owners, they want someone to act like a revenue producer, but they onboard them like an employee who just supposed to complete tasks. So it's like you said, here you go ahead, good luck. I'm paying you, so you figure it out. There's a big disconnect between what the owner expect and what they actually train for. And the owners forget that at the end of the day, these are your employees. They do not own the business. So the way that you are going to lead them, how you going to give them the training and just lay it all out, this is at the end is going to come back to you. If you do it properly, the employee will stay. But if you, as you said, skipping steps, this is where everything starts to crumble, and then you finding yourself again in a loop of trying to find and replace someone. Which brings me to my next question. Why do you think the turnover is so high in aesthetics right now? Do you think they leave mostly for money? Is it a culture thing, more flexibility, lack of leadership, or just people on both ends has unrealistic expectations?
This is a good question. I think it's the same reason why you see so many med spas actually popping up all over the place, is because everybody thinks it's very easy and very chill to be in this industry. And I think to a point, it is different from traditional medicine. I think more relaxed, but that doesn't mean you as an employer, what you're good at has to be relaxed. It can be relaxed. It can't. Like people, again, I want to reiterate this. People are coming in via private pay, right? They expect a high level of customer service. So I think the turnover rate is super high is because people from different industries are coming into the med spa space and like, hey, you look pretty good, come on board, or you look well, I want to hire you. That's not how you hire. If you really want top talent, which is like 10% of the market, not 90% of the market that are just honestly not the best and switch jobs every 6 months. If you really want top talent, you have to put in the work. You have to position yourself as a great company and what you offer. You have to give continuous training month after month, day after day, sales training, technique training, all types of training. You want the best out of your employees. You want to make the most money. You want to build another location. You want to do these things. Well, you got to put the work in. You have to put the work in. And I think a lot of people just like, hey, I have $1 million. I'm going to throw it at the MedSpa. I hope it does well because the industry is doing well. And I see it does well on Instagram. Not going to work. You're going to be out of business. You're going to be like, hey, okay, I'm on to a new business. So you want the turnover rate to go down? Hire right. Get a consultant, get a recruiter in there to show you how to do it and get top talent and know what you're doing.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I believe, especially if you are a mid-size med spa and above, and you don't have the time or the tools to hire right, you need to get a talent recruiter to find you the best candidate, because turnover, it's not only annoying, it's expensive. And they forget about
Yeah.
it. Every time the clinic loses somebody that you already trained, you lose consistency, you lose client relationship, because again, a new nurse, oh my God, again, a new esthetician. And then the clients, they kind of don't want to go back. And of course, revenue
Yeah.
flow and time. So very important to hire right from the beginning. Of course, things can happen, but when you go to someone who does it every day and work with different type of clientele, different type of people in different states, it's much easier because this is your day-to-day job. You are doing this every single day, so you know how to quickly spot someone that is not going to match this type of personality, which again will save them a lot of time and money. How do you think hiring the wrong person affect revenue? Do you think uh, it's like, can a wrong manager create chaos? Do you think a wrong front desk, they going to cost leads to the clinic or retention with medical providers?
Yeah. So of course, I mean, I feel like if you hire anybody wrong in the clinic, it's going to affect your bottom line. And just to say this also, sales, everybody in that clinic is selling, right? Everybody in the clinic has to be on the top of their game in an outpatient setting, and that which is a med spa office. So when you're hiring a nurse practitioner, which is an injector, a physician assistant injector, or RN injector, or a front desk, they're seeing the patients every single day. And if they don't have the support, they're not good at what they do, it's going to affect how the patient views the company. And it only takes one visit for the patient to say, hey, I either want to come back here and this is going to be my spot, or I'm on to the next spot. I don't care how cheap it is or um, what they offer. If I don't have a good experience, I'm not coming back. And I know a lot of offices that spend tons of dollars to get a patient to come through that front door or to call on the phone. So if your front desk isn't picking up on the first ring, if they're not greeting them with a smile, if you don't have all the extras with the water and the, hey, how was your dog that was in surgery last week, and all those things, or the injector's not, hey, here's your treatment plan, how can we plan this out? I promise you're not going to meet your goals, and you're going to wonder why things are not happening. So I definitely think everybody plays a role in how the clinic runs. So get your A
Oh,
team.
of course. I agree 100% with you. And this is what I also always tell owners. Staff is not just payroll. You know, they act like it's a headache. Oh my God, payroll, and I got to pay everyone and I don't get paid. No, you have to, yes, you have to pay your staff because your staff is your revenue. You cannot wear all the hats. You cannot manage the business, be the owner, be the front desk, do the treatments. Most of the time, it doesn't really work that way. And if you do, you are not being actually profitable. You just have a job. So yes, when you hire the right people, your front desk can actually create that revenue by bringing people in. When you teach your team how to sell, how to convert, or just how to be a little bit more than friendly and actually lead the patient, this is where you're getting the retention. Because a passive front desk costs you a lot. You basically just losing all your marketing money on a passive front desk. Um, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think so. I think you're right. In a passive front desk, you're losing your money. I think a lot of clinics underestimate that, right? They say, hey, I'll just hire
Whoever.
some waiter or somebody from Sephora. And sometimes that can work. I mean, nothing wrong against those type of settings. But if you want a rock star, you want somebody that knows the industry and can educate patients from the time they walk in and make them feel amazing to the time they're checking out for their next visit. And you might think it's simple, but it's a huge margin in your bottom
It
line.
is. And I feel like every employee that you are hiring, when I used to be a manager and hire people for the med spas that I worked at, I was almost never looking on experience. I was more looking on passion, to really see that person has a certain passion and they know how to communicate. They're not just order takers. I never looked for order takers. I want people who are leaders within their own little bubble and actually enjoy coming to work and not bringing their passive energy. And by the way, this is something that one bad employee can affect the whole team. It's enough one person who is sitting bitter, who is criticizing the leadership all the time. Only one person can really ruin the whole team atmosphere. I always say, don't wait. If you identify it, the longer that you wait, that person is going to leave at the most inconvenient moment for you. They're just going to text you, I'm not coming today, I'm resigning. It always happened. Never wait. If you already feel something is not okay, or the rumors are whispering that this person is talking badly, whether on leadership or another staff member, instead of having that conversation, it's time to let them go. Because the longer they stay with you, they costing you money. They're not productive and they poisoning everyone at the location.
Yeah, one person can really poison the bunch for sure. I think you have to be careful with that. Even if they're like your best, like even if you had a really good injector, I would say 5 years experience, and she's a killer. Like she bills 150 a month. If she is negative, it's gonna affect the whole team, and you're gonna end up crashing and burning eventually. So I would rather take a positive, energetic person that has 2 years experience than somebody 5 years that is a diva and just ruins the mood of the whole clinic.
Oh, definitely. I've seen myself experience people come with bad habits, and I've seen newer people in the industry. They come amazing and they're coachable. And for me, for example,
Yeah.
coachability is one of the biggest things. If they're willing, if they actually want to grow, and if they actually want to help the people who come to the office and they don't look at it just as a job. That's their purpose, it's their mission to help women or men to feel better, to be more confident. So again, yeah, experience is important, but I wouldn't place it on the top if your human skills are not as great as your medical skills.
Yeah. No, for sure. 100%.
What should, I'm just gonna jump to the next, because I did prepare a lot of questions for you. What do you think med spa owners should understand about compensation if they want to attract that 1% top talent? Do you think like right now some clinics are underpaying?
Well, yeah, of course, a lot of clinics are underpaying, but I do want to point something out before I get into that is, compensation is not the only thing that sells a candidate. I've seen candidates take lower compensation if maybe it's more flexible or it fits their lifestyle a lot better. And I've seen candidates do the opposite. So I would definitely say if you really want to become a top tier clinic and attract the best talent, find out what their situation is first and who they really are as a person, and then lead with that if you want them to come on board, right? But in terms of compensation, yes, a lot of clinics are underpaying and they want the best talent, but don't want to give up the money. And it's like, that doesn't really make sense. Like, you want the injector that's at the top med spa in your area with 7+ years, have did so many courses, spent all their money, built up the relationship, built up their Instagram, have these followers to come and join you, but then you want to pay them $70 an hour. It just really doesn't
Yeah,
make sense. Or you want to pay them, the front desk girl, $12 an hour. Like, it's not
yeah,
gonna work. And then you force these people that maybe are in a desperate situation, they just want a job and they're gonna quit in like 2 months. And you force them to come on board and then they quit on you. You're like, crap, I'm back to square one. And a lot of people I meet are in those positions. I'm like, hey, we have to do this from the right way from the beginning, identify talent, build a long-term plan that people can understand, and not just, hey, I'm going to give you a good rate starting off, and then they've been there for 5 years, you never raise their pay. Who wants that? Like, nobody wants to stay in position when they're stagnant. So starting off with a great commission compensation plan and showing them what it can become over time is going to secure top talent time and a time again.
Oh, of course. And I feel like they also have to remember it's like in sales, it's part of my sales training when I train the staff actually on how to sell. In life, you have two things. What's more important to you, price or results? And it goes the same with employees. If you are going to get exactly what you're paying for, you can't expect, like you said, a $12 front desk to go and do 200% every day. No, she'll do the bare minimum and that's it. And she'll go home. So you have to understand top talent ask for certain things because they know they can bring what you need to your clinic. That's a person with confidence. Otherwise, they will not be asking what they're asking, since obviously you can let them go after 2 weeks. Um, People with
Yeah.
confidence and knowledge and professionalism that know their worth, that been in the industry, that spend a lot of money in trainings and education, yes, you should pay them well, because when you are bringing these top talents, you are going to bring back that ROI within a few months, and sometimes even within a
Yeah.
month if it's someone who is really experienced. Um,
Yeah.
do-
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that a lot. And I also want to say briefly that just be careful also. And that's why it's good to have like a recruiter or advisor by your team, because there are some people that do have an amazing confidence. And you might swear, oh my God, they're going to do so good. And then they get there and they fail. And you're like, crap, I just spent all this money on this person. I believed them. They said they can do what they're going to do. And then it didn't work out. And that's how a lot of clinics go from like, I'm not doing it again. I'm paying this low amount because I'm not gonna waste all that money. But if you have an advisor, you have a recruiter, consultant on your team that really knows talent in HR, and especially your specialty, I promise you, you're gonna be able to get the type of top talent that you are gonna have to pay a little bit more for, but they're gonna able to do exactly what you need them to do and raise profits immediately.
I agree. And for the newer med spa owners who are just starting to expand, they begin from a solo injector, from just one provider, who are not ready for that investment yet, even though we say take a loan. Take a loan, get the right people by your side, because in the long run, it will save you much more money that you will spend right now. However, people act differently. So I agree with what you said. With employees, sometimes it could be 50-50. She could be great, but she just doesn't matches the vibe of this specific location, but in the next location she will be thriving. um, I agree, it's not only the confidence. For example, what I tell the owners that I work with, you put them on probation. She could be amazing, but amazing doesn't get what she wants in the first 2 weeks or 30 days, whichever the discussion is. you know Prove yourself. I'm willing to give you whatever you want, but you also have to show me that you are able, because again, also, yourself, typically the first 2 weeks up to a month, it's a lot of training on just the very basic, the EMR, what we have, how to it's a lot of trainings and less work.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So, um, investing early by knowing, no one knows 100%. You don't know anything 100%. But I know for sure if I'm a business owner and I own a med spa, I want to do my due diligence of asking everybody that I possibly know in the community that may know this person, how their skill set level is, right? And having an advisor or recruiter by your side that can connect you with those people, or even know themselves, or hand pick those top people that you've never even seen before and bring them to your attention. To me, that would be worth priceless, because again, day one I'm opening, or day whatever I'm opening, with a top talent by my side, and all I have to do is the rest, which is get the marketing done, make sure the lights are on, make sure that things are functioning well, and let that person does what they do best.
Oh, definitely. So my final question to you before we go, what is one piece of advice you would give a med spa owner before they make their next hire?
Yeah, one piece of advice I would say, definitely define what you're actually hiring for. Don't just say, "Hey, I'm hiring for an esthetician or I'm hiring for an injector." What does that mean? How many days a week? What does the compensation look like from the time they start, a year from now, 3 years from now? You want them to be thinking long term growth because you're thinking long term growth. So take the due diligence, sit down, take a weekend or whatever time, not just an hour, throw something on Indeed. No, that's not going to work. That's going to be very short term. And if you want to keep hiring, waste your money, hey, go ahead. But if you want actual results, take the time, identify exactly like what the job is, benefits, what can I afford, what will happen in 3 months from now, what goals do you want them to hit. And I think you will excel well with your brand.
Wow, I think this is something that most med spa owners they really don't do, especially with thinking long term for their employee. It makes sense also now why there is a lot of turnovers, because nobody really plans out the next year, 3 years. I feel like they are already subconsciously not sure if this hire going to stay, not going to stay. So no one really plans it out that way. I think this piece of advice is gold. My advice, again, you do it every day. I did a little bit in my past jobs, but I would say don't hire someone and expect to magically just fix the business. You have to hire the right person, but you also have to give them the system, the trainings, the expectations, and the accountability. Because if you're not going to hold people accountable, people tend to be people and they start to do less and less and less and less. It's just the nature of humankind. But Jonathan, thank you so much. This was a very informative. If you want to tell everyone where they can find you and how they can follow you.
Yes, for sure. Again, thank you, Diana, again for having me on. I hope everybody got some valuable information from this. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can find me on all platforms. Jonathan McLean, JonathanMcLean. Again, the founder of McLean Aesthetics Recruiting.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. And we will do another live. I would love you guys to leave a comment or DM me about topic or subject that you would like us to discuss. And we'll definitely make it happen on our next live. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.